pretty sure he I think what he did was he pulled it down because he realized when he started looking at other videos of how people drive in New York, because guys on, you know, sport bike riders are really aggressive. They're hyper aggressive in New York. You know, they're very loud. I'm not saying what they do is wrong, because I'm not going to comment on that, you know, but sport bike riders are really, really aggressive. I would almost categorize it as hyper aggressive. Yeah, I would actually categorize it as hyper aggressive on sport bike riders. Now, what I do when I'm riding around, I don't rev bomb people, you know, because I can't anyway. I'm on an enduro. You're not going to produce the sound effect that you get from a sport bike, which is pretty intimidating when you do that. People do move, so that's why I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong, but it is quite loud, and it does scare people. They'll move over because they just don't know what the fuck is going on. But what I found on my bike, drive not hyper aggressive but aggressive, pro-aggressive, aggressive in a safe way. And then what I found also, you should run a LED light. LED light helps for some reason. I got a LED H4. Then you don't need as loud an exhaust as the KLR that I have has a Lex exhaust, but it's actually loud. I've had, you know, I got a friend of mine who lives in my building. He drives a Ninja 300. He's got the stock exhaust on it. He doesn't like. He had a aftermarket, he said it was too loud. So he was saying my Lex exhaust was way too loud, and I kind of tend to agree with him. I had the silencer tip out. Was quite loud. I mean, I have to fix it before I put that bike back on the road. This bike has the silencer cut in half just to give it a little more oomph, but it's not obnoxious. It's pretty decent though. The stock exhaust on the XR is decent. The stock exhaust on the KLR is actually really bad. It's like a real restriction on the bike. And if you have a passenger on the KLR with the stock exhaust, it gets too hot by their foot. I would not keep the stock exhaust on the KLR. That's another thing. I try to be courteous. Like if I saw somebody smoking, I've seen videos of guys knocking cigarettes out of people's hands and stuff. That's crazy. And you got to respect other people. You know, they're in their car, they're minding their business, and you come lane splitting along. You're actually in the wrong in New York, you know, so you have to be courteous. It's tolerated. as you can see, I mean, nobody's freaking out. But if you're lane splitting on a highway and the highway was jammed like this in Florida, there'd be people turning into you. That's what you would encounter. So you have to pick your battles. Now I know they're going to legalize lane splitting in Virginia and Washington DC because of the traffic. It's already on the books. Lane splitting, in my opinion, is very important for a motorcyclist if done correctly. Now, if you're just rev bombing people and doing like 80 miles an hour while you're lane splitting, that's no good. Like that taxi driver's a real shithead, just cutting the whole lane off so I can't go. Other riders that just basically ride scooters here, 2-cycle bikes, and then they just ride in the bike lanes. I even see them go over this bridge here, riding in the bike lane on a 2-cycle, which that's only during the pandemic. You can't drive like that during normal times. Like, you can't be riding a 2-cycle motorized scooter over the bike lanes, over the bridges and stuff. You might be able to zip into the bike lane, you know, just a little bit, but I'm sure you guys have seen my videos where I zip into the bike lane occasionally. That's okay, but you gotta be aware that if a police officer does see you doing that, they put their siren on, and they might even jump in front of you. You gotta be aware. Then usually what you can do is just jump out of the lane and get out of there, as long as you show a little respect. But if you just keep tearing the ass on that lane, he's gonna find a way to either stop you or get your plate. Be aware of that. There's a lot of things, you know, as a rider right now, riding in New York must be scary for most. I'm afraid, because I see things that I didn't see before, like people just blowing lights and stuff. Tearing ass across the intersections without any regard for people who have a legal light to go. So it's hard, because I've almost hit like quite a few food delivery bikers, and I feel sorry, because they're just running around doing their thing. They're trying to get their delivery done as quickly as possible, get out of Dodge, you know. So they have a reason to want to get done. actually a lot easier. Anyway, that's my rant. Just giving some ideas, throwing ideas out there. Because I mean, I've learned so much from other riders. You know, like that's one thing. I pay attention to what people say because you can learn from other people. All right, everybody. See you in the next one.